In this video I want to talk about my favorite lens for all-round photography and for street photography and for portraits, and that is the Samyang 75mm f1.8. And it's a little bit of a weird focal length, right? 75mm. And if I were to guess, I think the reason it is 75mm and not 85mm as we're more used to is because they wanted to make a very compact and lightweight lens. And they really succeeded with that. This lens is incredibly small if you compare it to any 85mm f1.8 lens. They are usually like twice the size and a lot thicker and a lot heavier. So it's truly amazing how small this lens is while only being 10mm shorter in focal length. And actually I think it's very compact even compared to lenses like a 50mm f1.8 or 55mm f1.8, for example the size 55mm f1.8. So that is reason number one why I love this lens so much. It is extremely compact considering the focal length and the max aperture. Actually, the other day I was considering to maybe get a 50mm f1.2. There are a couple of these lenses and they are very expensive because I wanted to get a bit more blurred out backgrounds, a little bit blurrier bokeh. But then I started thinking, there is a simple rule of thumb to get how much blurred out your background will be for a certain framing, and that is you take the focal length and divide it by the max aperture. For example, on this lens I would take 75 and divide it by 1.8 and I get a number. And the larger that number is, the more blurred out your backgrounds will be. And if we then take a 50mm f1.2, a very wide max aperture, and that is quite a chunky lens, we actually arrive at exactly the same number as with this lens, which is much smaller. So I don't think I will buy a 50mm f1.2 because I get the same blurriness of the background with this lens for the same framing, roughly. So the lens is very, very small, compact. The blurred out backgrounds are amazing. You get very good separation of subject and background. What else is great about this lens? Well, the weight. It weighs pretty much nothing. It's 230 grams, which is... yeah, it's almost nothing if we talk about lenses, especially telephoto lenses on a full frame camera. And the reason it can be this small is of course that it is made out of plastic. It feels like plastic, at least. It must be plastic. And to be honest, that does not concern me that much. I am just very, very happy that this lens is so lightweight because I love taking this when I'm out photographing on the street. And then for me, it's more important that the lens is lightweight than that it is super high quality. Because I usually don't bump it into stuff, and yeah, I usually don't break my lenses even if they're made out of plastic. So for me, this is perfect. Another reason to love this lens, if you aren't convinced already, is that it is very, very cheap for some reason. I'm not sure why, but this lens, I got it for only $300, which is amazingly cheap considering what I've just told you about this lens. And I think it is around the same price around the world. Maybe it's slightly more expensive in some countries, but yeah, it's a lot cheaper than most other portrait lenses with a wide max aperture. So yeah, I just love this lens. It's so good in every aspect. And they didn't compromise that much with image quality. It is very sharp. The autofocus motor is quick and fast. I don't see too much chromatic aberration. Sure, the picture is not maybe as perfectly clean and sharp as on a very expensive and very big lens, but considering the price, the size and the weight, the image quality is amazingly good, I would say. So if you're looking for a small, compact, cheap telephoto lens for all-round photography, for portraits or for street photography, then I can warmly recommend the Samyang 75mm f1.8. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and see you soon again.